welcome back to a special bonus episode of Starving Artists. My name is LJ Jones, and with me on the podcast for the second time, Young Jonah.
Already. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. And welcoming for the first time, my guy, Tromonte. How you doing, bro?
What's good, man? What's good? Thankful to be here, man.
Yeah, awesome. Welcome to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this is a special episode, and I really wanted to have you guys on here to talk about everything that's going on in the world, everything that's been going on in the world. I just want to have these hard conversations and see where you guys are at, what you guys are thinking, and see what's on your heart.
YJ, you want to go?
So, what's been on my heart lately, man, is first of all, I want to say this. I've been really happy about what I've been seeing from some of our white allies and what's been going on in the country, man. I've been real pleased to see even who on other issues, let's say like the Philando Castile, issue or the Sandra Bland thing, or, all these times I saw certain people standing on the wrong side of history. And now I'm seeing these very people changing their views and their opinions now. And the winning team. And I know I'm saying it lightly, but I'm really proud. I'm really proud of our white allies standing, alongside us. What I'm not pleased with is the ones who's getting extra crunk. And I know this because I was outside at a protest and I saw some white guys getting extra crunk, trying to do too much, and people had to stop them. And that goes towards the rioting, and there's only black people doing that, But if y'all want to go to war, we can do that. It's been a crazy time, man, and I'm dead serious about that, by the way. But yeah, it's been a crazy time, man, and I'm just happy to see that, people uniting over this, and hopefully this time we can move forward together as well, and don't let it die after justice is served.
I'll say, at least in recent recollection, this time feels kind of different. As far as I can tell, if I'm wrong, please tell me. It just seems as if a lot more of, I guess, the society is paying attention, being willing to have these hard conversations. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Willing to have the hard conversations?
Some people are.
Yeah, like certain people are starting to, like you said, man, certain people are starting to listen when they weren't open to it before.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
You know what's funny? I was just talking to one of my homeboys, shout out to Israel. I was just talking to him about this today. I believe that certain people who are now ready to hear or have these conversations now, they just got fatigued. You know what I mean? Like they've seen so many events, absolutely undeniable, and it's dumb to stand on the side that they were on now. You know what I mean? Right. So they had no choice but to pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say a conversation that I keep having with people is the Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter debacle. I posted, I think it was yesterday, trying to remember exactly how I said. Let me pull it up. I want to make sure I say it correct. But I'll say that I posted a video online and talking about how Black Lives Matter does not mean other lives don't. It means it's like we do too type thing, and got a lot of hate for it, and just been in the comment sections trying to have these conversations. Some people are willing to listen, some people aren't. It's a conversation that I still can't believe that people aren't listening to. But what I posted on Facebook was, if you truly believe that all lives matter, you wouldn't view Black Lives Matter as a statement that needs correcting. And that, and grasp, my mind can't get we lost Tromonte. So basically what I posted on Facebook the other day was, if you truly believed all lives matter, you wouldn't view Black Lives Matter as a statement that needs correcting. Just want to ask you guys what your opinion is on that debate. Shouldn't be a debate, but what do you guys say about that, Tromonte?
I don't think all lives matter versus Black Lives Matter should be it's not a real thing. Because it's inclusionary of us in all lives matter. We're just being, for some reason, throughout our history, we've been excluded. So whenever there's a group of people who aren't being treated like everyone else on that, if it were Black people who were the privileged people and the white people in the press, and the white people were like, white lives matter, it would be crazy of us to be like, no, all lives matter, if the roles were reversed. I think because of our history as Black people, how we've been treated, how we're the victims of a system that works against us for the most part. It's hard growing up privileged and growing up conditioned to believe that people saying all lives matter kind of come from the premise that things are equal. Like, we have opportunity. Like we're afforded the same privileges and opportunities and resources as they are. But it's just not true. Even if you look at rich black athletes or rich entertainers, there's still like a ceiling. We don't own anything as far as the system goes. We own restaurants, but we don't own restaurants in an ecosystem that's predominantly owned by white people. All the NFL owners are white. All the NBA owners are white, except for Michael Jordan. All the MLB, NHL, educational laws are written by white people. Institutional laws are written by white people. Everything's everywhere you turn. The automobile industry, it's owned by white people. So it's almost like a miracle for us to even make a decent living or to get to a certain space where everywhere we turn. I know for a fact I've been turned down jobs because of my name, because of my skin color. That doesn't happen to white people, really. I have the benefit of nepotism because a lot of my peers are in the same position I am. It's not, I don't think it would begrudge me to say that Jonah could probably attest to this. Most of the places I work, supervisors and managers mostly been white. It's not coincidence, it's by design. And whenever I hear the debate of all lives matter versus Black lives matter, I don't think it's a real thing. I think that's just people simply being in denial. And I applaud you for standing out and speaking up against that, because you don't have to do that. That's something that you're taking on to stand by our side. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate that, but I'm just it's just important. It's not a thing, man. It's just needs to be done, and I hope that with this, so maybe we can open some eyes to who otherwise wouldn't be open to listen before.
What gives you as a white man, what sparks that thing inside of you to want to stand on our side? Because there are people who look like you that don't stand on our side.
Man, my whole life is just, I was raised to just see everybody equal. You know what I mean? Like, I look at you guys and I see my brothers. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see, I want to say it the right way. basically, you know, I don't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen a lot of Black friends be discriminated against, and it just breaks my
Mm-hmm.
heart, like for no reason. Um, there was somebody that we all know. I'll just leave their name out of it because I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how open they are about it. But there's somebody that we know years ago was leaving the movie theater, and cops grabbed him and detained him and said that he fit the image of somebody that they were after. And this guy that we know, he had long dreads, and the guy there had a shaved head, and the guy that we know was lighter skinned, darker skinned, and in no world does he fit the image of who they were looking for. And it's just things like that that just break my heart. I want to do whatever I can do to help. You know what I mean?
That's real. Yeah, man. I don't this is like we're like in a crisis, man.
Yeah.
I agree with you what you said initially. I think this does feel different than it has in previous years. I'm kind of anxious, and Jonah, you could take it from here. I'm kind of anxious to see me pass because there's a lot of stuff going on at one time. With COVID, with coming election, with people being out of jobs. There's a lot of stuff going on at one time. I just want to see what's actually going to happen as far as change. We all know that change takes years and years to actually be implemented. But what do y'all think is going to happen, or what's going to come from what's been going on the past couple of weeks, just to be specific?
Yeah.
Also,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
now I would say that one thing that has caught my eye is, you know, it started out as you know, George Floyd, and I think the media is trying to take away from what the protest started as, and they're slamming the riots and all of that. That is, what do you expect is going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Kaepernick peacefully protested. He took a knee. You know what I mean? They were peacefully populist, and they were hit with tear bombs. So what do you expect to happen is met with violence. So I think that the riots have to happen. And I think that the media is just trying to paint that as negatively as they possibly can, to disrupt what is. But I do feel like I said, something feels different. I don't know what laws will come into place. You know, I'll say one of the things different about this time is all the officers have been arrested. They're being charged.
Yeah.
Added for Chauvin, they changed it to second degree, and then they arrested the other officers. In the past, that hasn't happened.
Mm-hmm. You're right, but in the past.
Or if it did happen, they got like sentenced, convicted.
That's true.
This is what really throws me. Like, this is why I'm not as optimistic as others. I don't believe it till I see it. Let me see that conviction. Let me get that conviction before I even celebrate, think about you know what I'm saying, putting down the strap and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because to keep it 100, man, like anything about change, man, any change that's ever been made has not came without bloodshed.
That's true.
And I don't want to say it's like in a militant way, but to keep it 100, man, shit under the rug, it will be met with bloodshed sooner than later. We got to be realistic. Tromonte said it's a lot going on at one time, and that's absolute fact. Got COVID going on, got people that's out of work. You got a food shortage. Do you guys remember that? It's a food shortage. What happens when people can't eat? They're going to take from whoever got it.
Yeah.
And it don't matter what color you are at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's so much more to think about. So going forward, the powers that be, whatever's going, you know what I'm saying? Whoever's pulling this has to go perfectly for this country not to go to shit. You know what I'm saying? I firmly believe that that change can come and it can happen, but I believe it won't come without discomfort. Mm-hmm. And that's not just racist, but it's going to be discomfort for some of us as well. You know what I mean? It's a given hope. I'm interested to see how it all plays out. I'm just not as optimistic as, a lot of my brothers out here.
So in the past, there's been for a lot of the major change that's happened with Martin Luther King after he was gunned down. There were riots across the country.
Peaceful man.
Yeah.
He was a peaceful man, right? He was met with violence.
Huh. And did the riots not invoke change 6 days later?
Huh.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
I'm not misinformed on that, am I?
No, you're not misinformed. You're not misinformed.
It just seems, like we're headed in that direction that when change has happened in the past, and I hope that we keep headed in that direction. Same thing for the LGBT community. Protests, riots, and change happen. And so I really hope that what do you guys think needs to be done at this moment in time to just spark that change?
I think people should keep raising awareness of what's going on. I'm not sure Floyd video wasn't filmed, we would be in this position. That's unfortunate to say, because we've had plenty of George Floyds in the past that have been on camera, and it has not been this contentious in the past. So I'm not even sure if someone didn't have the courage to record them. Although me, being from where I'm from, I would have helped them. But just sticking with the facts, if there wasn't somebody to record them, we wouldn't be in this position, even having this conversation. The federal government is not on the same page, as we can see. So I don't foresee anytime soon any laws passing. We have a disgraceful president. That's as positive as I can be, Jordan. We have a disgraceful president who doesn't care about black people, doesn't really care about anybody but himself. It's peak in the past few days. He retreated. And that's a cowardly move for someone who's supposed to be in charge of the free world. I think the power is in the hands of the people now. I think that's clear. I don't mean that we can write laws. I don't mean that we can invoke change. If they will listen. They won't have a choice to listen. As Jonah said, they get fatigued. When you keep doing something, it's the other person. It's like a war of attrition. The other person gets worn down. And eventually, like, okay. Now what do you want? Okay, now our ears are. Should it have taken this long? Hell no, shouldn't have taken this long. But we, people like you, LJ, white people like YJ, I think everybody has a role to play. Try not to put anybody down. If you're on social media and you're screaming at the top of your lungs, typing in all caps saying it's fucked up, keep doing that. If you're on the front lines and you're rioting and you're testing, keep doing that. If you're a lawyer, if you're a professor, if you're whatever power you have, whatever resource you have, keep calling out the people who should have a bigger responsibility to influence our country in a positive manner. And I think that's all we can now. Once again, as Jonah mentioned, there are other pressing needs. I'm not going to weigh which one's more important, but when you don't have food on your table as a family, you have kids, LJ, you have kids, and you're furloughed or you're out of work, and you don't know where your next meal going to come from, all that stuff. To be honest with you, man, politics or anything political is going to be the last thing on your mind. Social unrest is important. Political unrest is important. You have to make sure that you're able to function to be in the fight with us. Because if you're not, that's a battle that we've lost. Before we even step on the battlefield. So we got to make sure that we're ready for war if it does come to that.
We got to stop giving attention to the trivial things, like the Black Lives Matter. That's a fucking distraction.
Mm-hmm.
I hate conversations online or those debates online. Why debate that shit? You know what I mean? Fuck them. Like, completely fuck them. More pressing, real shit to deal with. Mm-hmm. The issue at hand isn't BL all lives. That's not the issue. You know what I'm saying? It's not two gangs in the street going at it. Clearly that kind of smoke isn't wanted. Mm-hmm. We got to stop debating the trivial things. That amongst this is one thing I hate to hear going forward, because this is not going to be the last case of police brutality, no. Man. There's been how many more after this already? Been a couple. I've seen like 3 or 4. The shit is disgusting. So it's not going to end. At least not immediately. So with that being said, the debates with compliance, that shit got to end too. We got to go straight to we just got to go straight to the ballots. We got to go straight to our communities, you know what I'm saying, and move as a unit.
Local government.
We got to, everything that we want to see being done, we got to do it first and consistently do that within our lives so the people around us can see it and make that shit cool. We can't make laziness cool. We got to be active. You know what I'm saying? We got to be out, you know what I'm saying? And we make that a consistent theme in our lives, then we can see some real change. Mm-hmm. And especially getting out there to the ballots and stuff like that, so we can make some changes to the system that holds us in chains. So things forward to seeing happen, to actually affect change in this country, man. We all live here. We stuck here, man. I can't go back to Africa. I don't know who the fuck I know over there. Who the fuck I know over there? You know what I'm saying? I don't know goddamn soul over there, bro. This is my home, and as long as I'm here, my neighbors better get comfortable, because I'm comfortable with a motherfucker.
LJ, what you think?
I think y'all are right. I don't know that. I don't think that change is come immediately. I think it's going to take time. I think it's the local government. We have a trash president, and I could go on and on about that. Y'all both know. I miss of just grace in the office. Yeah. I mean, just imagine how Obama would be, or how he is responding to this. But then we have Trump getting, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. What good does that do?
That's another thing too, man. And I don't mean to sound disrespectful when I say this, but I ain't never been the biggest. My nigga had a lot of swag. Shout out to him. But that's about it. Looks, right? Trump is brash. He is, you know, first thing comes to his mind, he gonna say that shit. He don't care about like how he looks, you know, as far as appearance is concerned. Obama is buttoned up. That uh, you know, upstanding, you know, person, a good man. And here's the thing about looks.
Mm-hmm.
So if we, I don't want to even get on Trump too much about how, you know what I'm saying, about how he comes across or, you know what I'm saying, even how brash he is at times. Like, I think some of that shit is necessary at times because you got to have a backbone, especially when you're a leader. But I will say this, he ain't the one to do it because he's not competent enough, you know. I hope that we get someone in the office that has that look that everybody's comfortable with, that Obama had everybody enamored with, but actually do some shit and is stern enough to hold his own, hold his nuts on whatever it is that he believes in, and hopefully it's a righteous cause. You know what I mean? That whole appearance stain shit,
Mm-hmm.
that is the deadliest trap of America right now, man. That we in a situation, you know what I'm saying, of perception. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many different sides to what one video. We can see one video and have 30 different opinions come out of that bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's the trap of perception, man. And hopefully we can get somebody to lead us that has integrity. You know what I'm saying?
What can whoever can or should they do from the White House to spark that change? What we can do, but what can the White House do?
Well, the first thing that new president that we have, they have to speak. This probably won't happen, but I'm just in my utopian mind. They have to speak against the system, man. The system doesn't work. The system doesn't work. I'm a capitalist. I rather, you know what I mean, to be honest with you. But for the majority of Americans who are poor, the majority of Americans, the system is not beneficial. And when you keep having, as Jonah said, when somebody keeps fitting the perception, I'm not big on perception because perception ain't reality. Now I know it can be perceived as reality, but there are people who, dare I say, some people think Trump is doing a great job. That's why you voted. That's how he got in office.
Right.
Do I agree with that? Obviously not. But the next person in, they have to speak against the system that they all benefit from. I am not the biggest Obama fan. Was good while he was there. But we've had one black president in the history of presidents in the United States. We haven't had an Asian man, haven't had a woman. It's been all white men. Once again, it's the system, man. It's a systematic thing. The system. That's the first thing. There has to be changes. There has to be more affirmative action, which, you know, when you're applying for a job and like towards the end, the company is like, we're equal and equal opportunity company. I'm like, probably not. I'm gonna check this shit anyway, so you can take my application. Companies and things, collusion with banks that are in collusion with the judicial system. All this has to get changed. There's another thing we didn't touch on, although it's kind of implied. The judicial system doesn't benefit us. LJ, if I get arrested, I said this in one of my recent Wave Report episodes. If I get arrested, my public defender is probably white. The judge is probably white. The jury who's going to convict me is probably white. The only people who look like looking at me waiting to get sentenced. So what's the probability of me going free, having the right to a fair trial?
Right.
They don't have a right. And that's all. I hate to reiterate this, fellas. It's all a system thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't speak against the system. We'll keep having the same system and we'll keep having the same issues for our kids that are coming up, for the next generation, our nieces and nephews. They'll experience the same thing because you just switching out characters in the same system. That's all you're doing. The system has to, and that's we can bring awareness to it, but that's top down. They have to know that it's an issue within whatever the fuck is going on in there. It's not working for the majority of people out here. Why do people make it so hard to vote? Obviously it's important. So you wouldn't make it that hard if it wasn't that important. Now you do have your right to not vote. You can have your right not to. But we put these people in office regularly. And we have to put people in office who are going to speak and try to make a change against the system. If not, us three who are relatively we're around the same age, going to be 80 years old, and we're going to be like, hey, man, it's the same democratic representative democracy that's in place that don't benefit anybody. And we shouldn't have to live like that, man. We shouldn't have to live like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, honestly, I think when it comes to them polls and whatnot, we honestly have to, I think we got to start doing some background checks, bro. Like some research. I know a lot of people do their research before they get out there, but a lot of people, and especially now in the media era, now they look at a couple swaggy speeches or some compilation, some things that make them feel good or confirm their biases, and they go vote for that person. They didn't do no real research. You know what I'm saying? On the things that this person, the values and policies that he or she stood on, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. I don't fuck with Joe Biden straight like that. But a lot of people do though. Why? Because, you know what I'm saying, he's on the side of the fence that confirms their bias, you know what I mean? But they don't know nothing about old boy, you know what I mean? So like when we start doing more research and whatnot, we can get the proper people in the places where we need them to be to affect the change systematically, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think a lot of our people overlook that doing research and digging in on the people that they're about to check off.
There's so many people that are just so lazy when it comes to doing that research. So maybe watch a debate, they'll watch the little commercials, and that's all they need to see. And you know, we could even talk about the church. So as far as my experience of the church, a lot of individuals in the church, it just does this individual support oppose the LGBT community and abortion, and if my box, then my vote's for you, and that's all a lot of church people get into. And I don't know, it's just I just can't stand that train of thought. If you want somebody to lead the country, you want to do that research. Like I wouldn't, you know, if I ran a corporation and I wanted somebody to work under me, then I would do my diligence to make sure that they were capable of doing that. But why don't a large majority do that for the presidency?
But you know what it is though? It's society, bro. It's the society that we live in. We're enamored with sensationalism. You know what I'm saying? Anything that it's polarizing, we with it. We want to be in that conversation. We want to be on the scene. We want to be talking about what everybody's talking about, and miss everything that we need to be looking at. Misdirection is huge. We fall for the okey doke in because we want to be with it. You know what's being talked about. Where the crowd is, that's what we. You know, and that's a dumbass mindset that our society has.
What's popular.
Yeah, man. We got that herd. It's that herd mentality, man. It's
that herd mentality, bro.
Yeah, man. And you're right, man. Distraction. You know, a lot of us are sports fans. There's no reason we should know Kobe stats from 2004 and not know who's running for local governor and stuff like that. That has a direct effect on our lives. But yeah, man. And then, you know, we live in the age of the cult of popularity, man. Whoever's popular, that's who people go with. They could be lying. They could be lying. They'd be like, well, it's Jay-Z or it's whomever it is. I'm just gonna ride with them. I don't agree, and I think it affects people in a largely negative way. Jonah, when you think for yourself, even if it's against the popular, it's against the general consensus, people think you're crazy. But more of us should think for ourselves instead of grasping for opinions from other people who are probably less informed than you are. To be honest with you, the majority of people look for to say something for them so they can agree with them. A lot of them aren't informed, and uninformed. What is that going to make you in the long run? And then their vote don't count more than your vote does. You know, it's casted the same. They may have reach more people than you can at one time. But when you go, you sit down and you vote one vote. And I think we should all look at things like that. But that's hard. You've been conditioned since you were younger to follow what everybody else is doing. It is difficult to just all of a sudden change your mind and start thinking for yourself. I'm not a big Joe Biden fan either. And we had good candidates. We had other great candidates, but once again, people just like, we're just gonna go with Joe. That's what we know. We just gonna go with Joe. Well, there were more qualified people who could have sparked a different change and sent us in another direction.
They thought about they thought about the Obama and Joe Biden memes. How Joe Biden looked in the memes. They remembered that.
That's exactly what I was about to say, man. Like the end of Obama's presidency, everybody loved us in those last couple months, and I think it's exactly it. People are gravitating towards that. But I wanted to ask you guys. Trey Lieber's wife and son, they had went to a protest here in St. Pete, and their son, 6 or 7 year old, I believe, seemed sad. You guys I don't know if he told you guys, but he just seemed upset. And somebody that was there at the protest had asked and he, basically said, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said, "I'm scared of America." So he's such a young, innocent person. I want to ask you guys to just share with the audience what it was Black men in America.
YJ?
For me, it was rough. Number one, you got to think about most of us, like me and most of my friends I grew up with didn't have a father in the crib. So it's a lot of things that we didn't learn that we had to go bump our head and learn on our own. We get a little older, we get a little bigger, develop a little muscle, facial hair. Now we look threatening, just insecure. And for me personally, excuse me, my asthma been bothering with me. But anyway, like for me, my first run-in with negative run-in with the 14 years old. I was 19 and I was in Sulphur Springs. If you know anything about Tampa, you know about Sulphur Springs. You know the area. I ain't gonna say too much. Me and my cousin Corey was coming across the street, coming from the store, and pull up. They cops get out, waving guns. I'm dropping my drinks. I'm hey, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's happening. Cop body slam me, boom me on the hood of the car. It's hot as fuck. I am in Florida. That's hell. I'm on my face is on the car. Male with dreadlocks. As you know, I had dreads. And if you know anything about the particular area I was in, everybody had dreads. What kind of description is that? You know what I mean? In this particular neighborhood, for me, honestly, it's been filled with disappointment. It's been filled with misunderstanding. It's been filled with hell of a lot of profiling. The snide comments and remarks I had to endure when I was in the fucking military, from little privileged ass white kids who just got out of fucking Westgate or some shit came in as a butter boy ass making money, don't know shit about life, but think he can lead some men. The black jokes, you know what I'm saying? The shit that the underlying things that people it looks funny or it sounds funny at first, but there's these undertones to let me know you read this way. The stereotypes that's been slung my way, etc. Like, bro, it's filled with things that'll toughen you up or eat you alive. It depends on who you. So for me, man, honestly, I just learned how to maneuver in this bitch ass country.
Mhm. Yeah. So LJ, y'all can hear me?
Yep.
Me and Jonah come from essentially the same place. I mean, like quite literally come from the same place.
Across the street.
I grew up. I was misinformed. I was sad, as Jonah mentioned. I was very unaware of my surroundings growing up. Um, I had a difficult time with identifying who I was and my place in the world. Um, but I did always have questions, as y'all know, I'm big questions about where I'm from, why I was white where I was from. I mean, everywhere I go, everybody's the same, and then no one has any money. You know, people 50, 60, 70, they're still here where I'm growing up at. No one went anywhere, no one like, I didn't think there was a whole other world outside of my projects. And that's not good when you're going into like the workplace or you're going to school or you're going to the military. Your mind is set on all I know is where I'm from. I didn't know how to live because I was brought up on survival. As a young black man, profiling came at a age from the police. I have a general view. I don't think most white people like black people. From my experiences, from American history, personal people who look like me, it just seems like the majority of them don't like us. Maybe to no fault of their own. If you're 6 years old right now and you're in a racist household, they're going to raise you to think that black people are a threat, that black people don't deserve the same things that you deserve in life. Of course, you know, that great people, great white people who look like you, who kind of showed me that things aren't as bad as I believe they were. And don't get me wrong, I grew up, it was just my mom for the most part. My biological father was in prison. My mom used to raise me like white people aren't, you stay away. And because when you go in school, you meet different people. You know, from where we from, they try to bust us in diversity so that there isn't like a bunch of black people in the school. Yeah. And so I'm seeing white people, I'm like, they're cool, you know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I'm like, my mom told me to stay away. My auntie and my uncle told me they're not good. When I'm in school interacting with them, I'm like, this ain't cool. So it was confusing for a while as I got profiled some more. Even when I started getting my education and stuff, it's LJ is so crazy, man, because my degree is in English literature. So when I would go in classes, I would pretty much be the only black. It'd be a bunch of white women. They'd be like, "Are you in?" I had somebody tell me one time, like, "You sure you're in the right class?"
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm probably more sure than you are. You're probably going to change majors. I'm probably more sure than you are. But when people say things like that, it's just that expectation that it's almost like you don't really belong here. And that can be defeating. As tough as we want to make ourselves seem, strong person. Some things do hurt, and you have to sit back like, dang, man, that's because it's a reminder of a false reality that you used to live in. And to this day, man, um, I am I am I feel a lot of despair. I'm not the most optimistic person to begin with because history does repeat itself. Just for the sake of the next generation, I have to be hopeful that things will change for them. Our generation may not be able to see it, and that's fine. Um, but people act, man, and I've seen it 1,000 times over, man. I know, and it's going on, LJ, that something will happen. Something will happen. I can say that. I think something will happen. What will it be and for how long? I cannot say. I don't think anybody can. As Jonah,
Or will it
that's
be
that,
enough?
that's a great question. I think that's the question of the day. Will it be enough? And that's for us to see, man. Because from if we just go off of history, if we go off what the resume says, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. But I don't want to say that. I don't want to be negative. I'm just going off of what I know, what all of us know. I hope it changes, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. One thing I really I'm hoping that is things change. Let's say years from now, the playing field levels out, shit becomes equal. I pray that it's not those people, that look like me, black people that wants more still, that wants to do to them and done to us. You know what I'm saying? Like that revenge thing. That's once you start getting a little power, or you start getting your footing, start feeling yourself. And I'm hoping that's one that's not happened. That in the future, in this place that we all hope that does not happen, man, because that can get real ugly, and that can set us back from all the progress that comes across.
A platform like this, having us speak on your platform, this is definitely helpful, man. I can't tell you enough how helpful it is just to have black men spread the word, speak freely. You didn't give us any restraints like don't say this, don't say this. You're not even like that. so you just like come on here and speak your mind. And this is definitely therapeutic for me. I'm sure it is for Jonah, because as us as black men outside of social media, people listen to us, take us seriously. So I appreciate this a lot, brother.
No, I wanted to ask you guys because, like we've already discussed, it does seem as white people are becoming receptive and want to be allies. So, what can we as white people do to be just that? Like, what can we do to help?
Continue. From what I've been seeing, this trend that I've been seeing of people speaking out. Continue to speak. Have these conversations around not just black people when it's convenient to make yourself seem like you're not a racist or whatever. Shit. Like talk to your homies, talk to your family, have them conversations, talk to your kids, and let's that's when it's real.
Right.
When you can do something, that's pretty much, man. When you can do the right thing when no one's looking.
That's right.
So when you don't have media, when there's not a whole bunch of black people in your section, that's when it's to talk about the real issue. Talk about it with the people that look like you. You know what I'm saying? Continue to stand on the side of righteousness, man. That's it.
I agree with Jonah. To piggyback off what he said, things. One, I think it's important for white people to listen to how we feel and to listen to our anger and the things experienced over time. To just listen to us, man. because we haven't been listened to. You know, we've been saying Martin Luther King was saying the same shit. Malcolm X even saying even before them. The people who were with them during the civil rights era, people after them, listen to us, man. And I think it's important, secondly, for white people to just admit that they do benefit from the system, and that they do have a certain privilege that we don't have. And sometimes when I'm speaking to white people, they act like it doesn't exist, and we can't get anywhere if you don't admit there's a problem, man.
Right.
So those are the two things: admitting that there's a problem, and just listen to us, man. We're not making things up out of thin air. You know, we're not pulling this out of. We're speaking from real life, firsthand experience. Whether it's with systemic racism or whether it's with law enforcement. Just listen to us and continue to be an advocate for Black Lives Matter. That's men and women. You know, I want to make that very clear. Not just men and women and children. So just keep listening to us, man. LJ, you're a leader in that forefront, man. I think you're doing the right thing. You're taking to make sure that we're heard.
Yeah, thank you, man. I think just in having conversations, especially recently with white have the opposing view. I genuinely, it seems as if they don't believe that they're racist, because in their mind, a race is a KKK member with with the hood, and that's their mind, and they don't realize that there are what's the right word? There are like bits of racism in them, and what is it that do you guys think? Because it seems to me as if, like, I was having a conversation and I had shared something on Facebook, and they're like, well, me, bitch, it's not about you, right? You know what I mean? Like that. It just seems about me. Like my kids, I give something to my 4-year-old, the 3-year-olds, well, what about me? And like on their birthday, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't. What would you guys say to that?
I can't speak to it too much, my brother. Cause I don't have nothing to say to them fuck boys.
Hey, typical Jonah. I would expect nothing less. You dig what I'm saying? Nothing less. What I would say, racism today is more covert now. It's more covert. It's not KKK, FU, N-word with the ER at the end. It's not always like that anymore. I would have them sit down and talk to somebody who, hard as Jonah said, because even if you sit down with them, it's not a guarantee that they'll listen or accept anything that you're saying. But I still think people should try. Someone who doesn't come from your background, looks nothing like you, has a completely different cultural experience growing up in America than you, so that they can open your eyes. So you may not get it more susceptible to seeing where they're coming from down the line. That may or may not happen. But the conversations have to be had in an intimate and honest manner. And that's another thing. You know, we could touch on that. There's a lot of dishonest people as far on both sides. There's a lot of dishonest white people, and there's a lot of dishonest white people in power who kind of know that they benefit from a long lineage supremacy. And then there are a few black people who kind of, and it's not a lot, it's not the majority, but there are black people who I think with everything that's going on, you know, like with the looters and like the like they're out for self. They're not in it for real. They're just in it, and I don't appreciate that, man. Because if you're gonna be real all the way.
Come on, man.
I know we're all skin tone black and we all on the same side, but all of us don't have gotta address that as well.
You know the age old thing, man. All skin folk ain't kin folk.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
And that's absolutely. Listen, bro. I'm not the one that can be in that position to you know, race it straight up. We sit on the table and we try, you know, hash things out. I'm not the one for that.
Yeah, you're kind of violent.
You know, and you know, it's that's the beautiful thing about having a world full of different people, different personalities. And the beautiful thing about the Black community that we're so diverse. We have people who can do that. You know what I'm saying? Who can sit there and have an intelligent conversation with somebody who don't really give a fuck about them at all, and possibly sway them, but more than likely won't. But you know, it's a possibility. Debates is people that live to try to change the minds of people. You know, me personally, I'm not one to try to do that anymore. I kind of try to live as straight up and down as I can, flaws and all, and kind of own it and show that genuine consistency in my life and hopes that it permeates to people around me. You know,
right.
You know, whether that be white, black, you know, you know what I'm saying? I want that love to be shown to everybody, man, and I try to walk through that. So I don't think it's nothing I can say to a racist person that you know, that can change their mind. You know, I think some shit got to hit home for them, and they got to be real.
Yeah.
And that's really the only way. They got to hit rock bottom.
Yeah. You know, I want to get before we books that I always suggest to people to read, you know, regarding this matter is White Fragility and The New Jim Crow. Are there any other books or maybe, you know, whatever that people can watch, listen to, read to help educate themselves regarding this thing at this time?
Yeah, man. Checking out anything on Jim Crow is good. Is really good.
Yeah.
I think do some history lessons. Check out other movements. You know, not just the civil rights movement. There was things before then.
Right.
I mean, read up on Marcus Garvey. You know, read up on, you know, check out all types of other shit. And because I think once we're in tune with the past, we can know how to move forward in the future and build leaders. So, you know, I would like that.
I agree with White. You know, ironically, I just gave that book to somebody. Book to somebody, man. White Fragility, man.
Mm-hmm.
The New Jim Crow is definitely, my God. That's definitely. I'll recommend that first. The New Jim Crow, man.
Mm-hmm.
Mass incarceration is a very real. We're gonna have some conversations, LG. Let's put it that way. Those books are definitely a good place to start. Sure. I think it's so many books, man. I think, you know, Malcolm X autobiography, but not the first one. See, people, the Alex Haley version is the one people run to, but there was one that was put out later by Manny Marable. It's kind of a more in-depth, honest look at Malcolm X. I mean, that stamped from the beginning. Anything written by Howard Zinn, who's a white man, of how, you know, we kind of built America. But to start off, I know, you know, reading isn't a big thing. If you just want to start somewhere, definitely White Fragility and definitely The New Jim Crow to get you a kind of foundation, and then you can start from there. There's a lot of literature out there for people to go into, and then not even books. You can read some scholarly articles written by people. That'll definitely help as well. You know, I know some people aren't long-winded like that, so you can check out those things as well.
All right, guys, look, I appreciate y'all for coming on and having this discussion with me. I think it was, and this, for those in the audience, is in the last one. There will be another episode tomorrow, part 2, which will be equally as. So Jonah, Tromonte, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing y'all's hearts. Anything you guys want to say before we get out of here?
Please stay safe. Pray as much as you can. You don't got to be religious. Take care of one another, and stand on the righteousness side, man. Stay on the side of righteousness, man, and just keep fighting.
Colin Kaepernick is a legend, officially.
See y'all next time.
Peace.